So, did anyone else know that you were taking cold medicine? Well, I always took one after meals, so I'm pretty sure all my friends knew about it. But I lost my bottle of it around lunchtime on the day of the accident. On the day of the incident, what did you do for lunch? What did you do for lunch? What did you eat for lunch? What does that have to do with anything? You can never be too sure. I always eat with Dolly, just the two of us. Dolly's homemade lunches are just the greatest. Her mini omelets are magically delicious. That's how he responds to omelets. Yeah, why'd you punch me in the jaw? Oh, I'm so sorry. I just felt like hurting someone all of a sudden. I think that's enough for now. So the defendant and the victim met at approximately the time of his death. And then the defendant returned to the scene for some unknown reason. I'm not entirely convinced by his explanation about the medicine bottle either. Let me be frank here, Mr. Wright. Your testimony cannot be trusted. What do you mean? You already lied once, dumbass. I knew it was too much work for a little girl. However, there is one mystery that still remains. There is, Your Honor. How the murder was carried out, of course. Just how was the victim electrocuted? I don't believe the murder weapon has been produced yet, correct? Well, that is, You are correct, Your Honor. So how exactly was Mr. Swallow killed? If I could somehow establish it, how it was done, maybe I could still come out of this mess smelling like a rose. It's the, the wire snapped, right? Establish murder method! Your Honor! Yes, Miss Fey. I believe that if we were to piece together everything we've heard up until now, we should be able to solve the mystery of how Mr. Swallow died. That would be most impressive! Quite the brash statement coming from a rookie. But even a beginner like you must understand the basic rules of the court, yes? An attorney must be able to substantiate their arguments with evidence. Of course I know that. Actually, I had totally forgotten about that. Now then, Miss Fey, let me see what you've got. Show me how you believe the victim was electrocuted. I mean, obviously there's a loose wire right there. It's right there. Also umbrella. As for the cause of death, I'd say this picture captures it quite well. Nani? But there is nothing that even remotely resembles a murder weapon here. This is so stupid. I'm afraid the defense is going to have to explain this in a bit more detail. Miss Fey, where exactly in this photo is the murder weapon? Well, naturally, it's right here. That's... What is that? A severed electrical cable, I believe, Your Honor. Remember the testimony we've heard? The machines the pharmacology students use in their experiments require high voltage. And because of that, there are special high voltage cables strung up everywhere. So then the high voltage cable... Yes, the high voltage cable is the cause of death. That is the most likely explanation. That certainly sounds plausible. Well, Mr. Payne, what do you have to say about this? Well, I believe some praise is in order. Don't toy with me, old man. Now, the victim's cause of death may indeed have been high voltage cable. However, I want you to think about what that really implies. The only one who had the opportunity to use the cable as a murder weapon was... the defendant! No, the guy just walked into the cable. That much is certainly true. No, that's not true. Yes, and that is not all. We have proof! irrefutable proof that will establish that Mr. Wright was the murderer. You do? Well, what is it? His fingerprints. Fingerprints? You mean that the defendant's fingerprints were on something besides the medicine bottle? Let's take another look at the crime scene photo. As you can see, the victim is wearing a leather jacket. And as you may know, leather holds fingerprints quite well. Does it? You mean... Yes, it was quite clearly imprinted on the chest area of the victim's jacket. The palm print of the defendant's very own hand! Nani? I can only think of one way Mr. Wright could have left a print like that. Intent on murder, he squarely pushed the victim towards the severed electrical cable. What? Order! That's enough. I think we can conclude that there is no reason to continue with this cross-examination. So stupid. Of course there's reason. Stick a fork in this. We're done. Mr. Grossberg, my hemorrhoids never lie. The show is over, Mia. I know that boy was guilty the first time I saw him. Owned. No, you're wrong. Mr. Wright is innocent. No further evidence is required to convince me of this man's guilt. Well, you're an idiot then. Your Honor! At this time, I am prepared to render a verdict in this case. That's so stupid. Do you have something further to add, Miss Fay? Is this what you want, Mr. Wright? You still haven't told us the truth, the whole truth. If you don't say something now, the judge is going to hand down his verdict. But I can't. I just can't say it. Alright, fine, you're guilty of murder. Good luck in prison. If I told you what really happened, then I'd be... It's okay, Mr. Wright. I'm your attorney. You can trust me. You can trust me. Yes, trust me. Trust me. I'll help you. Yeah, do that. See what happens. Miss Fay, no matter what it is you have to say, I believe in you and I'll represent you to the very end. It might not be very long until your very end though. We've already established the defendant's guilt. There's no further need for him to say anything. Wait a minute! Mr. Wright! I'll tell you what really happened. Why didn't you tell us from the beginning? You know, if you do this in court, they're just gonna convict you. Why don't you just tell the truth from the start, you dumbass? What's wrong with these people? But I've already told you, Mr. Wright, there's no need for further... I did it. I admit it, I pushed him. It's my fault. My fault that Doug Swallow is dead. So he's holding an umbrella. Hey, it's none of your business. I'm telling you for your sake. If you continue to see her, it's going to be bad news. You're lying. Just listen to me. There's something you need to know about that girl. Stop it. Don't talk about her like that. Holy crap. He just palm striked him to death. What you just said, was that the truth? Yes, I was afraid that if I told the truth, everyone would think I was a murderer for sure. Well, as things currently stand, we're all absolutely convinced you are. Please give me one more chance to explain. This time I swear I'll tell the whole truth. It'll be okay, won't it, Miss Fay? I believe in you! Oh, thank you. I still can't believe it. He really did push the victim. He didn't push him, he freaking, like, kung fu palm striked him. It feels like my hemorrhoids are doing the Harlem Shake. When I pushed the victim. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. Look at that palm strike. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A little while after that, I started to get worried. So I went back, but he was just lying there, dead. Maybe you didn't kill him. Well, the explanation is really quite simple. When you pushed him, Mr. Swallow flew back and touched the electrical cable. He died from the shock, and that, as they say, is that. A simple explanation indeed. No, it wouldn't have been, because the watch stopped at 3:05. When he pushed him, it wasn't 3:05 yet. They met at 2:45, and then they separated at 3. At the time of the incident, a light rain had been falling. Wet from the rain, the victim was more easily electrocuted. But when I pushed him, there wasn't any electrical cables nearby. If there had been something like that, even I would have noticed it. That's true, even a doofus like him couldn't miss that. Miss Faye, let me warn you right now that if your cross-examination doesn't yield any new facts, I intend to deliver my verdict without further delay. Are we clear on that? Yes, Your Honor. Don't give up, Mia. If he is innocent, there must be some kind of evidence somewhere that will prove it. Alright, he pushed him. That guy, he was talking bad about Dolly. So what kinds of things did Mr. Swallow say to you? He said all sorts of terrible things about Dolly. He said that she was a bad girl. She's a bad girl. Oh no, a bad girl. What could she possibly do? Maybe she sleeps around and maybe you're into it. What the hell's a bad girl? Yeah. Is that all? That's it? Yep. Well, Miss Faye, you heard him yourself. Oh boy, you're not doing yourself any favors there, Mr. Wright. Please don't make this harder for me than it already is. Anyway, after he said that, I just Kung Fu palm striked him. I lost my temper and gave him a shove. Can you tell me about what happened in a little more detail? I gathered my chi into my palm. That guy, he just said what he wanted to say to me. And then he put on the jacket he was holding and started to leave. That's when I lost my temper and flew into a furious frenzy. Owned! I just gave him a light, gentle shove to the chest. And when you did that, there was no severed cables anywhere to be seen. Right, there was nothing like that at all. But is it possible that you merely overlooked it? Well, I guess it's possible. What are you doing? Don't let that guy steamroll over you like cheap asphalt. I believe what's important here is the moment the push occurred. Let's continue on with the testimony, witness. At that moment, I heard some kind of loud noise. A loud noise? And what would you say that loud noise was, Mr. Wright? I'm not sure, but it was really loud. It was like snap! You know, come to think of it, I wonder what that was. Clearly, Your Honor, it was the sound of the victim being electrocuted. You're not qualified to decide that. What should I do? I'm treading on some dangerous ground here. Details. Mr. Wright, that loud noise you heard may be extremely important, so try to remember what it was. How do I put it? It was like a sharp crack. Aha! Could it have been? Yes, could it have been? Hurry up and tell us. When I pushed him, he dropped the umbrella he was holding. He fell right on top of it, and it broke. That was probably the noise I heard. An umbrella, huh? And did that umbrella belong to the victim? Yeah, it was a plastic umbrella, cheap and frail, kind of like the owner. Yeah, good job, Phoenix. Why don't you trash talk the guy who just died? Then again, I wish I had any kind of umbrella. I was totally soaked to the bone. Miss Faye. What do you think? Is there something important in that testimony just now? Was that important? Well... Sure. This is it, Mia. The new information you've been waiting for. Of course it's important. No. This cheap umbrella is more than important. It's vital. I want to officially have it entered into the testimony. Ah, how perfectly fitting. Flimsy information for a flimsy lawyer. The court agrees to the defense's request. Witness! Please add the bit about the cheap umbrella to your testimony. After I shoved him, he fell on top of his cheap umbrella. So Mr. Swallow fell on top of his umbrella, and you're certain of this? Yeah, it was right there under him. Actually, if it hadn't been under him, I was planning on borrowing it for myself. The umbrella, you mean? Well, yeah, you see, I was wearing this sweater here. Dolly stayed up late for nights at a time knitting it for me. I didn't want the rain to dampen the handmade symbol of her love. Oof, my stomach is not to be used as your personal soccer ball, Mia. Ah, I'm so sorry. Continue with your testimony, witness. A little while after I left, I started to get worried. After you shoved the victim, did you leave the scene right away? Yes, I did, I admit it. I was furious. You left without even checking Mr. Swallow's condition. Well, yeah. But like I said, I got worried about him later. So I went back, but he was just laying there dead. At that time, did you see anyone else at the scene of the crime? Nope, nobody. Jeez, could that stupid cough possibly sound any phonier? In that case, it's very hard to believe someone else could have been the murderer. Unless we can find something that shows his innocence from that testimony, my dear. I mean, my lady. I'm afraid the judge will make his final decision with no remorse whatsoever. Yes, sir. Right now I need more info. Info that will help me turn up some contradictions. I have it already. So he fell on top of the umbrella and then he walked away. But in the photo, in the crime scene photo, the umbrella is not under him. That means he got up and then died. Right? Look, watch this. No, the other one. The umbrella's there. Right? He fell when Phoenix Wright palm striked him. He fell on top of it. Onto his back on top of it. And now he's on his front and the umbrella's gone. So this happened afterwards. Why didn't you testify about the umbrella from the very beginning? Come on, if I had mentioned that, I would have been able to counter the prosecution's arguments earlier. What do you mean by that? Take another look at the crime scene photo. According to Mr. Wright, the victim fell on top of his umbrella. However, if you look closely, the umbrella is nowhere near the victim. Actually, it is by the electrical pole. You're absolutely right. The conclusion here is obvious. After the defendant left, the victim moved from where he fell. In other words, After he was pushed by the defendant, Mr. Swallow was still alive. No! Order! The victim, he moved! Mr. Payne, the umbrella in this photo, where is it now? Well, it was collected by the police at the crime scene. I want it presented as evidence immediately. Umbrella added to the court record. Owned by the victim found broken near an electrical pole at the crime scene. But the umbrella could simply have been blown there by the wind. According to the testimony, the victim fell on top of the umbrella. There is simply no way it could have been blown there by the wind. But I know this matter of the umbrella seems relatively trivial. But as long as the smallest doubt remains, I cannot render final judgment. This guy, how many times has he tried to render judgment when doubt remained? Every single case he tries to say, no, I guess that's it, I guess that's all the evidence, and then we say objection, and then there's more evidence every single time. Every single time you have tried to render final judgment before everything was considered. No! I must say, I still find it hard to believe that a huge hole has been blown in the prosecution's case by the defendant's testimony. Phoenix's testimony added to the court record. The victim fell on top of his umbrella. There was a loud sound when this happened. Well done, Mia. Mr. Payne, what are you chuckling about? Pardon me, Your Honor. It seems I was expecting too much of a free ride. Yeah, you were, Payne. I was foolish to think I could establish guilt through cross-examination alone. I'm afraid I don't follow what you're saying. Let me guess, you have another witness. Exactly, and this witness's testimony will be incontrovertible. Well, who is this witness? Miss Dalia Hawthorne. Oh wow, she's gonna screw Phoenix? Amazing. Dalia Hawthorne? You don't mean Dolly? I do, Your Honor. The defendant's very own lover is a witness to the whole thing. That's right, she was at the scene of the crime when the murder took place. What? I'm sorry to break the bad news to you, my dear. Bad news? You couldn't be more wrong. Actually, I've been waiting for this. You can't be serious. Mia, what do you mean by that? I think this is a good point for us to stop at. Court will now enter a 20-minute recess. Afterwards, we will listen to the testimony of Miss Dalia Hawthorne. April 11, 11:52 AM, District Court Defendant Lobby Number 3. Miss Faye, I'm sorry about what happened back there. It's alright, at least you told us the truth in the end, Mr. Wright. You're so bad. Yeah, so I guess I can start to relax then, huh? No. Relax, my boy. You can't be serious after hiding such important facts. But the next witness is my Dolly, right? Phoenix, she's a bad girl. She'll save me, I just know she will. Sure. Sure, Phoenix. Why do you think that? Huh? What do you mean? She's the love of my life, that's why. I mean, she's the love of your life. The question is, are you the love of her life? The love of your life, huh? Would you mind telling me more about you and Miss Dalia Hawthorne? Sure, no problem. Dolly and I, we first met about 8 months ago, right here in this very courthouse. What? Why does everything happen at the courthouse? Actually, I'm studying to be a lawyer on the side. You're studying to be a lawyer on the side? Anyway, one day she and I just bumped into each other in the reading room downstairs. Just bumped into each other? That's why I really think it was fate that brought us together. There's no such thing as fate. As soon as I first set eyes on her, I knew she was the one for me. Oh here, take a look at this! She gave this to me the day we met as a symbol of our love. That's weird. She gave you a present the first day you met? She had been wearing it around her neck that day, but then she took it off. But before she gave it to me, she said, I want you to carry this. That's stolen jewelry. She's a thief. That's stolen jewelry. She gave it to you as a present, I see. This darling little bottle is filled with memories of my darling little dolly. It certainly is a little bottle, alright. It makes me so happy, I show it to everyone I meet. That's probably stolen jewelry. I want to share my happiness with the whole world! Dalia's present borrowed from Phoenix Wright. A small bottle necklace given to Wright on the day they met. She shows it to everyone. Anyway. So after that, you and Miss Hawthorne started dating. Yeah, but she's so shy. Every time I see her, she always says the same thing to me. Please give it back now. Please give it back now. Please give it back now. That's so funny. That is so funny. That's the funniest thing. What a strange girl asking for a present back like that. Grossberg. Come on, Grossberg. Are you serious? By the way, Mr. Wright, the day you first met Dalia Hawthorne 8 months ago, it wouldn't happen to be on August 27th, would it? Huh? Yeah, it was. But how did you... This happened on August 27th right here in this courthouse. What's this? A newspaper clipping. Let's see. Murder in the courthouse? Murder? What are you reading there? Let me see that. Oh, I see. Mia, I think I understand what you're trying to say. And I think I understand why you suddenly took such a keen interest in this case. Where is it? I don't have it. You believe there is some connection between these two cases, am I correct? Newspaper clipping added to the court record. An article from 8/28 almost 8 months ago. I hope you don't mind, Mr. Grossberg. I need to finish this myself. Ah, yes, but I'm afraid what you have will not be enough, my dear. I mean, milady. I'll go and have a look in the downstairs reading room and see what else I can find. Thank you. I want to do whatever I can to be of help to you, Mia. Well, it looks like recess is about over. We better all get moving. What is this? Murder in the courthouse! Very little information is being disclosed at this time. Since the victim of yesterday's incident in the district courthouse cafeteria is said to have been a lawyer. However, police are questioning the 19-year-old female college student who was sitting with the victim. Right. I guess so. That recess sure seemed longer than 20 minutes though. Please give it back now. Alright, let me take a break.